What if the person you trusted most was hiding a life you never knew existed? Today's story is about a woman who discovered her husband had a second family, and the twist: she was the secret all along. For Sarah, her marriage to Mark felt like something out of a fairy tale. They met in college, a whirlwind romance that settled into a comfortable, loving partnership. He was her rock, her best friend, the person she told everything to. Their life together was idyllic: a beautiful house in the suburbs, two wonderful kids, and a dog named Buddy. From the outside, they were the picture-perfect couple, the envy of their friends. He'd leave sweet notes on the counter and surprise her with her favorite flowers just because. Their life was built on a foundation of trust, laughter, and shared dreams. Or so she thought. Looking back, the signs were there, tiny cracks in the perfect facade that she'd brushed off as nothing. There were the late-night phone calls he'd take in the other room, his voice dropping to a whisper. When she'd ask who it was, he'd wave it off with a casual, "Just work, honey. You know how demanding this new project is." Then there were the business trips, which seemed to become more frequent over the past few years. He'd always go to the same city for a supposed quarterly conference, but when she once offered to join him and make a weekend of it, he quickly found an excuse. He said it would be wall-to-wall meetings, no time for fun. She believed him. Why wouldn't she? This was Mark, the man who had never given her a single reason to doubt him. His occasional distant behavior, those moments he seemed lost in thought, she attributed it to stress from his high-pressure job. She was his supportive wife, and her role was to ease his burdens, not add to them with needless suspicion. She thought it was nothing, until one day she saw something she could never unsee. Inside, she didn't find his driver's license or credit cards. Instead, there was a family photo, a smiling, happy family. There was Mark, with his arm around a woman she'd never seen before, and standing in front of them were two children, a boy and a girl, who looked to be about the same age as her own kids. Her heart stopped. Her first thought was that it must be an old photo, maybe of his cousins or some distant relatives she'd never met. But then she saw the date printed on the back. Just 3 months ago. A cold dread washed over her. Frantically, she searched online, her hands shaking as she typed the woman's name she found on a gym membership card in the wallet. Her social media profile was public, and there it was, an entire life, documented in hundreds of photos. Birthday parties, family vacations, Christmas mornings, all with Mark. The shocking twist wasn't just that he had another family. It was that they were his first family. Their wedding photos were dated 5 years before she had even met Mark. They lived in the same city he always went to for his business trips. Everything she knew about her life was a lie. Her marriage, her home, her family, it was all his second, secret life. She wasn't the wife who had been cheated on. She was the other woman, and she never even knew. The world tilted on its axis. Every memory, every "I love you," every shared moment was now tainted, poisoned by this monstrous secret. She spent the rest of the day in a daze, her mind replaying a decade of lies. When Mark walked through the door that evening with a cheerful "Honey, I'm home," the sound of his voice was like a physical blow. She stood in the living room, the wallet and the printed-out photos laid out on the coffee table like evidence at a crime scene. The smile on his face vanished when he saw her expression. There were no screams, no accusations, at least not at first. Just a single, chilling question from Sarah. "Who is she, Mark?" He froze, the color draining from his face. The initial denial was weak, pathetic. "It's not what you think," he stammered, but the proof was undeniable. The confrontation that followed was a storm of tears, rage, and shattered trust. But his words were just noise. She wasn't just heartbroken. She was erased. Her entire identity as a wife and a partner was a fabrication he had carefully constructed. How could a person live two completely separate lives? How could he look his children in the eyes, knowing he had another set of kids just a few hours away? The argument raged for hours, a raw emotional showdown that tore their fake world apart at the seams. He begged, he cried, he promised to leave his other life behind, but the damage was irreparable. The trust was not just broken, it had never existed in the first place. As he stood there, a stranger in the home they had built together, Sarah was left with an impossible choice and a devastating question. What would you do if your entire marriage was built on lies? If you want more gripping stories of hidden truths, betrayal, and shocking secrets, make sure you subscribe to Hidden Truth Lane, where the truth always comes out. Thanks for watching.